My wife cheated with my best friend, then admitted she only married me for money. I just smiled, because in court, the truth left her completely shattered. Hello, Reddit I plus here. I was 36 years old when my life shattered and rebuilt itself in ways I never thought possible. My name's Nathaniel, and for a long time I thought I had it all. A steady career, a home I built with my own hands, a wife I adored, and a son who meant everything to me. Back in 2013, when I was just 25, I met Sienna, who was then 23. She was magnetic, dark hair, a laugh that made people turn their heads, and the kind of confidence that pulled me right in. I'd been working as a pipeline safety inspector since 21, already earning well, and had bought my first small house 2 years earlier. Our relationship was a whirlwind. 6 months in, she moved into my place. My oldest friend Ryan, we'd known each other since middle school, helped haul her boxes and furniture. Ryan was always around, always willing to lend a hand, or so I thought. We'd shared jobs, road trips, and late-night beers. If there was anyone I'd have called my brother, it was him. 2 years later, Sienna and I got married in a small ceremony at her parents' vineyard. Ryan was my best man. His toast that night, about loyalty, brotherhood, and forever, burns in my memory now like acid. Soon after, Sienna pushed for kids. I hesitated, wanting to stabilize our finances, but she insisted time wasn't on her side. In October 2020, our son Elliot was born. Being his father changed everything for me. I adjusted my work, taking shorter regional contracts instead of longer, better-paying projects. I accepted a pay cut just to tuck my son in more nights of the week. It was worth it. His first words, his little hand gripping mine, the way his face lit up when I came home. But that's when Sienna began to change. Instead of greeting me with warmth, she'd hand me a list of complaints. The dishwasher leaking, Elliot being a handful, her mom criticizing her again. I kept telling myself it was postpartum stress, or that she just needed time to adjust. My older sister, Rebecca, noticed at Elliot's first birthday. After Sienna publicly snapped at me for buying the wrong wine for her mom, Rebecca pulled me aside. "When did she start treating you like an employee instead of a partner?" she asked. I brushed it off, saying Sienna was just stressed, but the truth gnawed at me. Ryan was still around constantly, fixing things, watching games, hanging out. I thought I was lucky. Great wife, great son, best friend. What a cruel joke that turned out to be. The breaking point came after a brutal 4-day job in late 2022. Delays, inspections, breakdowns. It was hell. I missed Elliot's little school play about dinosaurs, and I walked in Thursday night utterly drained. I just wanted a shower. Instead, I walked into Sienna's storm. She ripped into me for missing the play, compared me to some other dad from her yoga class who worked remotely. I reminded her my dangerous, exhausting work paid for the house, her SUV, Elliot's private preschool. That's when she hit me where it hurt, called me a glorified dropout, said maybe if I had a real career, I could both earn and be present. And then, in the middle of that fight, she slipped. "I only married you because I thought he was yours," she spat. Silence. My son looked up from the carpet where he'd been playing with toy dinosaurs. My blood went ice cold. "What did you just say?" I asked, my voice razor thin. Her eyes widened, realizing what she'd admitted. She tried backpedaling, blaming her anger, but I knew. That wasn't anger, it was truth clawing its way out. I tucked Elliot into his room, then left without another word. I crashed at Rebecca's, told work I needed time off, and the next morning I called a lawyer. Her name was Marjorie Blake, mid-50s, no nonsense. She laid it out for me. First step, paternity test. Whether Elliot was biologically mine or not would shape everything. Second, secure finances. The house I'd bought before marriage could be protected, but I needed airtight documentation. Third, gather evidence. If Sienna was cheating, proof mattered. Courts didn't care about whispers, they cared about facts. So I started digging. I checked our shared phone plan. Hundreds of late-night texts and calls to the same number, Ryan's. I nearly dropped the phone, my brother in all but blood, and the timestamps matched perfectly. Spikes when I was out of town, silence when I was home. I checked the shared iPad. Sienna had forgotten to log out. The messages were there. "Can't wait to feel you tomorrow. When's he leaving again? Elliot deserves a real dad who's here." Screenshots. All of it. Saved to the cloud. The paternity test kit came to Rebecca's house. One Saturday, I told Sienna I was taking Elliot fishing. At a diner bathroom, I swabbed his cheek. He thought it was a silly game. Days later, the results came. 99.99% probability. He was mine. Relief made my knees buckle, but then came the money. Marjorie was right. Sienna had been siphoning cash. $200 here, $500 there. Over a year, almost $30,000 gone. plus a secret credit card with $15,000 in hotel and restaurant charges. My stomach churned. While I worked dangerous jobs, she and Ryan had lived like parasites. I secured my accounts, moved paychecks to a new bank, left just enough in the joint account for bills. Then I confronted Ryan first, invited him under the pretense of checking out a boat. When he arrived, I showed him the phone records, the messages. His face drained of color. He admitted it had been going on since the early days, even before Elliot was born. "You've been my brother for 20 years, I said, "and you stabbed me in the back every single chance you got," he begged, but I walked away. That night, I confronted Sienna, spread the evidence across the table, texts, finances, credit card charges. She sobbed, tried bargaining, offered more sex, even wild things. If I'd just forgive her. I slid the divorce papers across the table. Her mask slipped then. She threatened me, said no court would ever give me custody, that I'd be lucky with every other weekend. I smiled, because I knew better. My lawyer was already 10 steps ahead. And when the court dates came, her perfect mother act crumbled under hard evidence. My records of doctor visits, teacher meetings, time spent with Elliot, her siphoned funds and secret credit card, her ongoing affair with Ryan, even after I confronted her. The judge gave me primary custody during the week. Sienna got alternating weekends. The house stayed mine. The siphoned money worked against her in settlement negotiations. I'll never forget the look on her face, stunned, broken, as if she thought the court would simply hand her everything because she was the mother. But the truth prevailed. And that smile? That was me walking out of court, knowing my son was safe. My future was protected, and the people who betrayed me had finally lost the power they held for far too long. The weeks after the initial court hearing were a storm of emotions. On the surface, I was composed, working, caring for Elliot, documenting everything. But inside, I was boiling. Rage, betrayal, exhaustion, it all churned beneath the skin. Sienna, meanwhile, doubled down. She thought tears, threats, and charm would sway me, just like they always had before. The first attempt came 3 nights after she was served with the official papers. She showed up at my door, mascara streaked, hair undone, the picture of a broken woman. "Please, Nate, can we just talk? Don't do this. Don't ruin our family over a mistake I didn't budge." "A mistake?" I repeated. "That was 6 years of choices, 6 years of lies. Don't you dare call that a mistake." Her tears dried instantly. I saw her real face then, sharp, calculating. "You think you're going to walk away with everything?" she hissed. "You'll regret this. I'll make sure of it." I shut the door on her mid-rant. My phone recorded the whole exchange in my pocket. Evidence. Ryan tried too. He texted me from different numbers after I blocked him, left voicemails begging for one more chance to explain. Once, he even showed up at Elliot's preschool, pretending it was a coincidence. I intercepted him before he could get close. "You ever come near my son again?" I told him, my voice so low it scared even me. "And I'll bury you, in legal filings so deep, you'll never crawl out. Try me." He never showed up there again. But word spread fast in our small circle of friends. Some were shocked, some claimed they saw it coming, and a few had the nerve to suggest I forgive and move on for Elliot's sake. Those people aren't in my life anymore. The custody battle dragged on for months. Sienna's lawyer painted me as a work-obsessed father who wasn't around enough. They brought up my travel schedule, tried to spin it into neglect, but Marjorie countered with meticulous documentation, school events, doctor visits, pictures of me building Elliot's treehouse, coaching his t-ball team, even switching jobs to be home more. Then came the financial evidence, hotel receipts, thousands siphoned into a secret account, credit cards maxed out on luxury items while I was budgeting for Elliot's future. The judge's patience thinned every time her lawyer tried to wave it off as loneliness spending. One hearing stands out. Sienna's mother, Linda, testified on her behalf. She painted me as cold, unfeeling, more concerned with money than with her daughter's happiness. "Your Honor," Linda said dramatically, "Nathaniel may provide financially, but a child needs love. My daughter provided the love. She made the home." Marjorie didn't even flinch. "Mrs. Holloway, were you aware your daughter diverted over $50,000 in marital funds to hide an affair with the petitioner's lifelong friend?" Linda's face froze. The courtroom murmured. The judge's gavel cracked. That was the moment the tide fully turned. The guardian ad litem, Gail, visited both homes to evaluate stability. At my house, Elliot proudly showed her the treehouse, the backyard garden we planted, his tidy little bedroom full of dinosaurs. Gail asked him what he liked about living there. "Daddy's always here," Elliot said simply. My throat tightened. At Sienna's parents' house, the picture was less rosy. Gail's report noted tension between Sienna and her parents, constant arguments about money, and a lack of structure in Elliot's daily routine. Worse, Gail discovered Ryan was still visiting secretly, despite court warnings. That sealed it. When the final custody ruling came, I was granted primary custody. Sienna got alternating weekends and one dinner visit per week. We shared legal custody, but the day-to-day stability was mine to provide. The settlement split marital assets, but the house stayed with me. It had been mine before we married. The judge also ordered Sienna to repay a portion of the siphoned funds, though realistically, I knew I'd never see most of it. Sienna erupted in court. "This is unfair! I'm his mother!" she screamed, tears streaming, voice cracking. The judge banged the gavel again. "Control yourself, Mrs. Holloway, or I will hold you in contempt." I just sat there, calm, because I had already won what mattered most, Elliot's well-being. The aftermath wasn't clean. Sienna called constantly, oscillating between apologies and threats. Her parents tried guilt-tripping me, warning me I was destroying the family. Ryan disappeared from my life entirely, too ashamed to face anyone. Word was he lost his job after his boss, an old-school family values guy, found out what he'd done. But I didn't care about any of that. My focus was Elliot. We built routines. Breakfast together every morning, homework at the kitchen table, Saturdays at the park. We even started a little project, restoring an old fishing boat I'd bought years ago but never touched. Elliot loved handing me tools, pretending to be my assistant. One night, as I tucked him in, he asked, "Daddy, are you happy now?" The question cut deep, but I smiled and kissed his forehead. "I am, buddy, because I have you," and that was the truth. Sienna never stopped trying to manipulate the system. She filed motions claiming I was turning Elliot against her, accused me of being verbally abusive, even suggested I had a violent temper. Each time, the evidence, recordings, logs, witness accounts, proved her wrong. After a while, the court grew weary of her games. Her credibility eroded with every failed accusation. Eventually, Gail recommended reducing her visitation further if the disruptions continued. It's been over a year now. The divorce finalized, the dust settled. Elliot thrives, happy, secure, loved. Sienna still sees him, but her time is limited, structured. She hates me for it, but I don't lose sleep over that anymore. As for me, I've rebuilt. My career is steady, my home peaceful. The betrayal still stings sometimes, especially when I think of Ryan, but it no longer defines me. What defines me now is the smile on my son's face when he runs into my arms after school, the quiet nights when we sit on the porch, watching the stars, the knowledge that I fought, tooth and nail, to protect him, and I won. And that smile in court, it wasn't just a victory grin, it was freedom. After the divorce was finalized, I thought the worst was behind me. I was wrong. Sienna couldn't accept her new reality. On paper, she had visitation every other weekend and one weekday dinner. In practice, she tried bending the rules at every turn. At first, she'd forget the schedule. She'd show up on my doorstep demanding to see Elliot outside her allotted time. Sometimes she'd call the school, telling them she was picking him up when it wasn't her day. The first time I rushed over, found her waiting in the car line, insisting she had a right as his mother. "Read the court order," I told her, showing the signed papers I kept in my truck. "You're not taking him today. You think you can control me?" she hissed. "I'll have the judge fix this." But the judge didn't fix anything for her. If anything, every violation worked against her. I documented every attempt, every inappropriate pickup, every hostile phone call. Her parents were no better. Linda and her husband, Charles, thought money and intimidation could bend me. One evening, Charles cornered me in the parking lot after Elliot's t-ball practice. "You've embarrassed our family," he growled, his finger jabbing my chest. "You think the courts are on your side now, but we've got resources you can't imagine. You'll regret cutting Sienna down?" I didn't flinch. "With all due respect," I said, brushing his finger away, "I don't fear people who raised a woman who destroyed her own marriage. And if you ever approach me like this again, I'll file for a restraining order." Charles sneered, but he backed off. The irony was that while they defended her so fiercely in public, in private, they were sick of her. Word leaked to me through Rebecca. Sienna was draining their money now, racking up credit card debt, fighting constantly with Linda about moving back into their house permanently. And Ryan? He wasn't her white knight anymore. After losing his construction job, his boss Bill wanted nothing to do with a man who betrayed his best friend. Ryan started bouncing between temp work and odd jobs. Sienna pressured him to step up and provide for her. He cracked under the weight of it. Within months, they were fighting in public, loud enough that neighbors called the cops twice. One night, I got a text from an unknown number. It was Ryan. "She's destroying me too, Nate." "I'm sorry, man." I deleted it without replying. Some apologies don't deserve oxygen. The real danger came when Sienna tried to use Elliot as a pawn. One weekend, she picked him up for her scheduled visitation. When it was time to return him, She didn't show. My calls went unanswered. Panic set in. I contacted Marjorie, who advised me to go straight to the police and file for contempt. 3 tense hours later, Sienna finally pulled into my driveway, Elliot asleep in the back seat. She staggered out of the driver's seat reeking of alcohol. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I demanded. "I just wanted more time with my son," she slurred, swaying on her feet. The next morning I filed the report. The judge didn't take it lightly. From that point forward, all her visitation became supervised, either at a neutral visitation center or in the presence of her parents. Sienna cried in court, begging for another chance. The judge simply said, "You had your chance, Mrs. Holloway, and you endangered your child." That was the beginning of the end for her as a mother, in the legal sense. Meanwhile, Elliot thrived. He adjusted to the schedule quickly, maybe better than I did. He loved the stability of my house, the routines, the predictability, the peace. Gail, the guardian ad litem, checked in periodically and always left with a smile after talking to him. "Daddy makes pancakes every Saturday," Elliot told her once, proudly. "And we're fixing a boat." Those little moments made every sleepless night, every court date, every lawyer's bill worth it. Sienna's parents eventually stopped trying to intimidate me. Maybe they realized the courts weren't budging, or maybe they were just tired of pouring money into her battles. They grew distant, only showing up occasionally during supervised visits. As for Sienna, her bitterness consumed her. With Ryan gone, her reputation in ruins, and visitation limited, she clung to the only thing left: playing the victim. On social media, she painted herself as a poor, abandoned mother fighting against an evil ex who stole her son. A few mutual friends bought into it at first, until the truth trickled out. Screenshots and court documents have a way of shutting down lies. Her support network withered, and I finally started breathing again. By late 2023, life settled into something resembling normal. Elliot and I had a rhythm. I worked steady hours, home every evening by 7. We cooked dinner together, built Legos, read bedtime stories. The boat restoration became our bonding project, piece by piece, Saturday after Saturday. For the first time in years, I wasn't walking on eggshells in my own home. One night, Rebecca came over for dinner. Watching Elliot chatter about school while helping me set the table, she smiled and said quietly, "You're a damn good dad, Nate. You know that, right?" I nodded, though my throat tightened, because for the longest time I hadn't been sure. The rebuilding phase wasn't just about Elliot, it was about me too. I reconnected with old hobbies I'd abandoned: fishing, playing guitar, even joined a local cycling group. Slowly, the weight lifted, and cautiously, I started thinking about dating again. Nothing serious at first, just coffee, conversations, reminding myself there was life beyond betrayal. I wasn't in a rush. My priority was still Elliot, but I realized something important. Sienna hadn't broken me. She'd tested me, scarred me, but she hadn't ended me. If anything, she'd forged me into someone stronger. Looking back now, I sometimes wonder if Sienna ever regrets it. If she lies awake at night in her parents' house, replaying all the choices that led her here, alone, broke, and seeing her son only under supervision. Maybe she does. Maybe she doesn't. Either way, I don't care, because I'm not the man she tried to break. I'm the man who walked through fire and came out holding his son's hand. Both of us smiling, both of us free.